All right. Let me just do a quick sound check. All right. Just do a quick sound check. Yeah, that's coming in beautiful. All right. Shalom. 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 Barakat Yahweh. Barakat Yahweh Shai. Barakat Yahweh. Barakat Yahweh Shai. Barakat Yahweh. Barakat Yahweh Shai. Call Halayimla Yahweh Bahasham Yahweh Shai Bahasham Rakaha Kodash. Double honors to the beloved apostles and elders of Great Millstone, better known as GMS, who rule well. Peace and salutations unto the hopeful elect, the tabernacle of David, beginning with the 144,000 and the rest of the men, women, and children out of the 12 tribes, whom Yahweh Bashem Yahushai will ultimately have mercy upon in these last days. All right. I'm your brother Matazabath, residing from the branch of the Great Millstone here in Melbourne, Australia. All right. And today, I'm finally, spirit has been put on me to bring this out. I've spoke about this for the last 4 years, but just never got really into being able to do the video. But got up very early this morning, and spirit hopped on me to just go into this. Now, the title of the lesson is "They Took Him Out by Turning Up His Chip." All right. And this is going to be going into what they actually did to the comedian Bernie Mac. All right. Now, I'm going to say before we get into this lesson, as you see, I'm joined at camp yesterday by the beloved brother Yashar, all right, from GMS uh, down under Australia. All right. He's currently out here in Melbourne visiting. And it was very, very great, a great day yesterday for us to finally catch up. And we had a good time. We chopped it up. So the water Yahweh Bashim shot for that beloved brother. And what you're about to see is in this video during our camp session, I actually speak on the things that happen, all right, to Bernie Mac. And I'm going to show you Akim and Akwathium that are listening and learning the video that was done on him. Now, the narrator in the video that you're about to watch, which I've also left the video in the description box for you, Akim, if you want to go and watch it on your own time. The narrator, he goes by Yasha. I think Yaash, Salakia, Yaash, I think. And he knows that, he's a Hebrew Israelite. I want to say he was one of the dudes that were coming up in the School of One West. And he has his own podcast or whatever the case may be. I don't know what camp he's in or if he was in a camp as of right now in this day and age, but I do know that he was back at the One West. He speaks about it on his podcast. And so he actually has inside information at school based upon people who he know that's actually in the industry. All right. And so what I want to do is I also want to say that, this is fair use. All right. And we're also going to say for YouTube policy, this is, we'll say allegedly. All right. Because, we don't want to be caught up in any defamation or whatever the case may be, which we really don't give a F at the end of the day. All right. Because this is all done by the will of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. All right. But you know how this algorithm is in the community guidelines. All right. So without further ado, let me quit talking and let me just play this clip from our camp session yesterday.
Because everywhere tells you that in Habakkuk, he is as death and he cannot be satisfied. So him heaping in all people onto himself eventually, and if the spirit permits me, I'm gonna try to do that tonight or tomorrow, Lord's will. But I spoke about Bernie Mac. Bernie Mac was an example of them utilizing him through their means of technology, and really that's how he actually passed away, because they turned up the radiation of his chip that was implanted in him. And what they don't tell you, yes, I got the video. And what they don't tell you is a lot of these actors, Hollywood celebrities, they actually are being chipped. They're already chipped. And the situation that happened with Bernie was you had his fellow comedian Steve Harvey was very jealous of him. And when they took Bernie Mac down underground, and allegedly, for YouTube censorship, allegedly they had cloning stations where they were cloning individuals, right? This is real. They were cloning humans, and it was also cloning animals.
Yeah, that happens daily, man.
Yeah, and basically, long story short, what they did, or what Bernie did when he saw it, he reacted in a negative way. He said, "Man, I gotta tell Jake. I gotta let my people know." Yeah. And when he went to tell D.L. Hughley, Cedric the Entertainer, and all of them, they basically looked at like, "Oh, this man is going to F up our paper, our check." Now, remember the Pharisees, they were mad at Yahushua.
That's right.
Because during the time of the ancient Roman Empire, if you want to get that John the 11th chapter, right, that's the spirit to show you that which is then is now. Because what Bernie did was Bernie said, look, I got to let somebody know. Steve Harvey, okay, went back to the handlers, okay, and pretty much said, you got to take him out because he's talking too much now. He's telling everything. Why do you think Steve Harvey was able to do the TV show? What is it called? That family TV show, Family Feud. Yeah. How do you think he got that contract? This was right after the fact. Bernie passed away. Go back and check the timeline. Bernie passed away about what, 2008? Right up until the time when Obama came into administration. And so
he wasn't sick. He was healthy.
He was healthy. The last movie, Soul Men, with Samuel L. Jackson. Right after that, cut that movie, that's when he fell sick. Matter of fact, his wife, up until the time of his deathbed, he started telling the truth to his wife, and that's when they had to cut his life. The day he died, they sent his handler up into the hospital, and he had a receiver to that chip, and he turned up the radiation. That's how Bernie died. Yeah. That's the 100% truth. You got it.
And yeah, everything that I said yesterday at camp. All right, we're gonna go into that video, because this is what's coming on a global scale. This is going to happen on a massive scale pertaining to Revelation, the 13th chapter. All right, and we've done many videos in the past. I've touched on a video with Aaron Russo also explaining this, that the end game for the top banking elite family is for them to micro CHIP every single human being here on the planet Earth. That is the end goal. All right. And so let me see here. Without further ado, all right, this is the video. All right. And we're going to go into this video right now. Please bear with me because there are ads on this video. So if I go to play it and if ad pops up, just please bear with me. I'll try to get through it as quickly as I can. So Salakia ahead of time. All right, but let's tap into this video so you can actually see. All right, and before we actually play this, quick disclaimer. All right, this is fair use. All right, copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act in 1976. Allowances made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, all right, scholarship, all right, and research, which is what we're doing as the service to prophets. Fair use is a use permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringed. All right. So with that being said, all right, let's come back here. All right, and let's play the video.
Bernie Mac sold his soul. They don't even let you see things like this until you sell your soul. So when Bernie Mac got that show, he had sold his soul, the Bernie Mac show. Then he started getting movies. But way before then, he was just doing comedian. They didn't show Bernie nothing. When Bernie started getting his feet wet, they started taking him to Pandora Bar. His mind was blown. But then they put him under the oath where he won't talk. Throw the goat up here and there, put your hands in pyramid. That's the oath. So as Bernie started making more money, his name became a household name. They started taking Bernie to the clone lab, because there is a thing called clone lab, and they're all over. They're not just in America; they're all over the world. All right, they control them anywhere, Rich folks, they're always in places you never think they are. It's like it could be a desert, like nothing exists, and it's this one fucking pond of water or some old trees. That's usually where it's at. It's underground. They got it, man. It's just like the movies. They telling you the truth in the movies. So nevertheless, Bernie Mac was introduced to the Clone Lab. They take you there. They took him there. They let him see the fights. At first, he thought it was cool, you know. It was like eyes wide shut. They screwing in front of you. They doing bizarre things, man. Bestiality. You going, damn, right? But the part that tripped him out, how they showed him. They literally showed him how they clone people. They take the real person and put them off to the left and make two more of you. It blew his mind. Just like they did the dogs, the fish, all of that. He's like, wait, I'm tripping. That ain't a real person. Then they start, they stab the person to make you see they bleed. They're real. And they can feel that pain. You understand? So his mind is blown. Now, he done been a couple of times, and the only time they would be willing to put you in shackles so you don't talk if he's not bringing revenue. But Bernie Mac is funny as hell. Bernie Mac bringing a lot of money. So they say, well, go on, let him make movies. He ain't going to say nothing. He know what's good for him. And who's going to believe him anyway? Right? So this was heavy on Bernie. Very heavy on him. But they already had him chipped. Once they take you to the Clone Lab, you have to get chipped. Steve Harvey is chipped. Oprah's chipped. D.L. Hughley is chipped. Said Entertainment. That's why they don't say nothing. Because this is what happened to Bernie. When Bernie started to have these conversations, they can hear everything he's saying. So they made him go into pain more. So they can put your body in pain. He started, I'm hurting. So Bernie had a talk with Steve Harvey, D.L. Hughley, and Said Entertainer because he believed he could talk to them. Like, man, we got to tell somebody about this shit, man. Cloning people? They advised him, hey, man, this shit been going on since the 40s. We're going to make our money. Steve Harvey, big lip ass, right? So Bernie was really adamant about it. It was heavy on his head. So Bernie did the King. They let him do that tour. He came back. He still was cool. But shortly thereafter, he did a movie with, I believe, with Samuel Jackson. I ain't for sure. And he was still good. But shortly after that movie got done, he kept bringing it up. So Steve goes and rat him out. Well, they knew what he was saying, but Steve was like, he's becoming a problem. So they hold a meeting without Bernie. And they asked D.L. Hughley the same thing. Hey, what is he saying? He's saying that we gotta expose this. Okay. They amped his chip up because the chip controlled every vital sign in your body. Bernie got real sick, went to the hospital. And they knew what was going on. Steve Harvey knew. D.L. Hughley knew. Said the Entertainer knew that they ratted him out. And he knew that death was coming. They knew death was coming. Bernie wasn't assured at the present time. But when he started getting real sick, he said, these motherfuckers doing this to me. But Bernie did tell his wife what was going on. And she been scared shitless ever since. And they didn't want him to tell her too much. So they turned it all the way up and killed him while he was in the hospital. And they didn't have to be there. They did it by remote control. That's how cloning works. And that's how the chip works. It works by remote. So somebody could have been acting like a janitor or acting like they dare to see their loved one, could have been sitting in a weight room and hit the remote to turn his chip up to send him to fatal, which is death. That's how Bernie Mac left here, being ratted out by Steve and DL. All them niggas so fake, man.
Our administration believes.
All right. And so there you have it. Like I said, I've left the video in the description box. You can watch it in its entirety because it goes into Bernie actually, because he did sell his soul. All right. And that's what you have to do being in Esau's world. All right. You have to go ahead and, sell your soul. So to give you another example to show you that, Hollywood A-listers, know about this. Okay. Cause it's just not comedian. If you are in a position of being a celebrity, regardless of whether you're in the movies, you're doing comedy, you're in sports, it's pretty much all the same thing. But here's a clip of Denzel Washington. All right, and he's also going to speak on about them giving him a pamphlet of the micro C hip. All right, and let's check this out. Once again, fair use.
What's about to happen is right where they cut it. It
Yeah.
gets very physical.
Yeah.
And folks,
Just to say the
folks
least.
get chewed on. And,
Mike Tyson is.
yeah, you know. Oh, yeah.
I'm saying it. Now, there's like the scientific element, like conspiracy in this film. Like, do you think that things like that are really happening or have happened where they're programming people?
It is happening. There was a pamphlet they gave me about a chip, an implant that they put in the body, and it can for security purposes.
Right. Security.
To identify you, to so that they know where you are. So I thought the pamphlet was made up for the movie,
Right.
but it was real.
Oh, okay.
The kinds of little chips that you saw that we use in the movie are actually made. Now, as to what they can do, they'll tell you, oh no, it can't do all of that. It's just for global positioning and identification. But
Only the
I'm not trying to let them put one in me.
Only me either.
No.
All right, so that's Denzel Washington openly, and I think he's referring to the movie he did called Safe House, which in that movie they actually show you that he actually had a micro C hip implanted in him, and that's normally what they do on set. Like once they get you comfortable on these movie sets and stuff like that, they send in people who are known as handlers to try to soften you up and to see if you will go in the direction that they want you to go. And, they gave him a real pamphlet where they told him that this is a real thing. All right, people are about to get C-hip, man. And we've been telling you, beginning with our beloved apostles, of Great Millstone, all right, the bishops, the elders on down, for many years, that this is the end game and this is biblical prophecy. All right. And so when you deal with, let me go back here, when you deal with the story behind Bernie Mac's passing away, okay, this is exactly what happened to Bernie. All right. And as I said at camp with the brother Yashar yesterday, okay, that that's how they took Bernie out. All right. And he didn't die through complications of because they spoke about around that time back in 2008 when he passed away, that I think it was through pneumonia. He was already sick. He had other problems going on, this, that, and the third. But what happened was behind closed doors, they actually had to stop him because when they took him down underground in the bases that they have, and they have chipping stations and cloning stations and stuff set up, he started getting very verbal with it, and they didn't like that. And as we said at camp yesterday, that which is then, all right, is now. And let me go ahead and bring that out. Ecclesiastes. All right, because let me see here. All right, let me type it in. That which is then is now. All right. There's no new thing under the sun. All right. Actually, you know what? Let me just go ahead and type it in. I think it's Ecclesiastes 3. All right. And right around 15th verse. All right. And it reads, that which hath been is now, and that which is to be hath already been. The Most High requireth that which is past. All right. And so what when you come back to this, like they said here, this man here ratted Bernie out to the top elites. Okay. And essentially what happened was these three men, Sid, Steve, D.L. Hughley, they all were getting contracts to have their TV shows. All right. They were getting checks from the elites. But in order for them to do that, as you heard him say in the video, all right, they all four of them had to be on the same accord. They couldn't spill what actually goes on in the industry. But see, Bernie, he had a different type of spirit upon him, and he knew that it didn't sit right, even though he sold his soul as well. And as the man said in the video, when you come into this thing, all right, and we've all saw Cat Williams special many years ago when he said that that's the thing that they do. They take you into these mansions, they test your spirit out to see if you can roll with it, you know, roll with the punches or whatever they throw towards you. And if you're down, all right, you'll see those double zeros, those triple zeros in your bank account the next day, right? And when you come into the fold, as they say, you have to take an oath. And all of these 4 men, they took an oath and they all been chipped. And look, he's doing an oath right now. All right. That's one of the symbolic hand symbols right there. All right. Which means that's letting the elites know that you are in the know. All right. This is what they do. And so again, Bernie went and he had to tell. And because he was telling so much of what was going on behind closed doors, they had to turn up his chip. Okay. And the same thing that happened during Bernie's time is the same thing that happened in the ancient world, because as Steve Harvey said, because he's talking, he's going to mess up our deal. He's going to mess up what we have in place. Okay. With the people that are in top. He's going to mess up our checks. He's going to mess up our shows. Once again, like I said at the camp, how do you think Steve Harvey got the Family Feud show? Go back and check the timeline when Bernie had passed away and see the scripture says, let's grab it. When you get John the 11th chapter, this is the same thing that the Pharisees did to Yahushua when they were in good standing with the Romans. They didn't want to give up that lifestyle that they had. All right. This is John chapter 11, the conspiracy to kill Yahushua. Now, watch this. It says John 11:47. Then gathered the chief priest and the Pharisees a council and said, what do we, for this man doeth many miracles? In the case of Bernie Mac, all right, Steve Harvey and the other 2 comedians, Cedric the Entertainer and D.L. Hughley, they held counsel to try to stop Bernie Mac for opening up his mouth. All right, because he was talking way too much. Right. So it goes on to say in verse 48, if we let him thus alone, all men will believe him, and the Romans shall come and take away both our place and nation. And that's the main point. You see, because back then the Romans, they made Judea tributary and basically told the Jews, look, you can continue to do what you want to do, worship your God or whatever, as long as you pay them taxes. And we ain't going to bother you. All right, have at it. You can do what you want to do. And in this instance with Bernie Mac, all right, and the other 3 comedians, they pretty much was like, look, if we don't stop this man from spewing out, what really goes on in our industry and behind closed doors in order for you to make it, everybody's going to believe him. And not only believe him, they're going to start investigating, and then everything is going to come crashing down for us. You see? And then the small hatters, the people that are in a position of high authority, they're going to come and they're going to take away all of our benefits. It's the same thing. That's why we read Ecclesiastes 3:15. That which is then is now. The same thing how our people were dealing back then. It's the same way our people are operating in today's world, man. All right. And so they made unfortunately, they made an example of Bernie, but he wasn't the only one. All right. There are many others that have gotten taken out that you didn't probably forgot about. All right. So let's get some scriptures and close this out. I got here the book of Mark, chapter 8 and verse 36. For what shall it profit a man if he shall gain the whole world and lose his own soul? Okay. And like the brother Yashar said yesterday at camp, when you are in a position where you come from a low background, where you have nothing or whatever, they are going to go after you because you're the most vulnerable, because you come from nothing. So therefore, when they open up that checkbook, all right, and give you a couple of $1 million, to you, that's a no-brainer. That's easy money. Right? So once again, as the scripture says, if we continue to read on, Mark 8:37, or what shall a man give in an exchange for his soul? Okay. And that's what Bernie Mac did. As you heard the guy say at the beginning, okay, he sold his soul. So what do you think you have to give in an exchange for your soul when you sell out, man? Okay. And don't get it twisted. These comedians, these celebrities and whatnot, they're not happy, man. Okay. They just put on a front. They not really happy. They stressed out. You don't really know what goes on behind scenes, but we know what really goes on behind closed doors, right? So let's go here, Luke chapter 16 and verse 13, because you'll hear, things like, everybody who's doing their profession, whether it be, them being an actor, a musician, a athlete, whatever the case may be, they always want to talk about God this, and we're putting God first, this, that, and the third. No, you're not putting the Most High, Yahweh Bashim Yahushua, first. All right. If you're so hell-bent on trying to make it by selling your soul out. Now, this is Luke chapter 16 and 13, and this is what Yahushua had to say about that. It says, no servant can serve two masters, for either he will hate the one and love the other, or else he will hold to the one and despise the other. Ye cannot serve the Most High and mammon, and that goes into money. So whenever they host these award shows and they go up to the podium to accept their, award, and they hold it up and they say, I want to give, a shout out to, God first and foremost, who's the head of my life. And no, stop all of that bullshit, man. The Most High is not the head of any of y'all lives, man. You see, Yahushua, told it straight, you can't serve both masters. How is it that you're serving who you call God, but then at the end of the day, okay, you doing backdoorian shit behind closed doors, okay, doing little pedophile shit behind closed doors, going to these ritual parties and stuff like that, man. And all of this is coming to the forefront, man. So Yahushua, he hit it right on the nail when he said, you cannot serve two masters. You either going to deal with one and hate the other, and vice versa. Let's come over here, because let's not forget Yahushua. Okay, he was the greatest example. All right. And when he went through his phase, when he was being tempted in the wilderness, all right, Satan told him this. All right. Let's see here. Matthew 4, and we'll start at verse 8. It says, again, the devil taketh him up into an exceeding high mountain, and showeth him all the kingdoms of the world and the glory of them. Right. And he said unto him, all these things will I give thee if thou wilt fall down and worship me. And that's the same thing that these celebrities do. Okay. When these people that are in high positions come to, people of our nation, you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, all right, who are vulnerable, who come from nothing, all right, and they tell you, look, if you sign this contract and come over here and worship me, I'll give you the abundance of everything you could ever hope and dreamed of in your life. And so that's exactly what, Satan told Yahushua. And this was when Yahushua was, he was fasting. So how much more? And that's the thing. When you do a deep fast, demons jump on you more, because your spirit is closer to Yahweh Bashim Yahushua when you actually fast. Believe it or not. All right. And yeah, obviously, Yahushua's response in verse 10, he said, then said Yahushua unto him, get thee hence, Satan, for it is written, thou shalt worship thy power, and him only shalt thou serve. You see that? So make no mistake about it, man. We know that if we got brothers in GMS camp who left that lifestyle, man, who went out to Hollywood to pursue acting. Okay, you got brothers who was in the music industry, You got brothers that was in the NFL, man. All right, brothers pursuing to go to the NBA. You know, so this is what we're saying, man. Everything that happened behind closed doors with Bernie Mac, okay, like we told you, man, this is what really goes on within the music industry, okay, within the comedian industry, within the acting industry, also within the sports industry, right? Let's get another one. All right, this is Psalms 94:16. It says, who will rise up for me against the evildoers, or who will stand up for me against the workers of iniquity? And once again, when you come back to the situation that panned between these four men, okay, Bernie Mac, you know, even though he knew he sold his soul, okay, guess what? Now he was trying to, you know, spill the beans, but it was too late, man. It was too late. And that's the problem with a lot of you so-called Israelites out there. Once you come into this wise counsel, okay, and you see when the persecution cometh, when things start to go, you know, not your way or whatever, because wisdom is testing you, you're put in the same position where are you going to stand for what's right? Are you going to stand up for evildoers? Because make no mistake about it, it's more than just standing out there every weekend and cussing out the so-called white man and telling him that his kingdom is coming to a very end, man. Majority of you guys are not even ready for the persecution that's going to come upon you. And like Elder Apostle Tahar always says, majority of you brothers, all right, you're going to take the sea hip, man. You're going to give in. Because you obviously you really don't understand, nor do you know what you are a part of at the end of the day. You don't know what you are a part of. Right? So again, Psalms 94:16, who will rise up for me against the evildoers, or who will stand up for me against the workers of iniquity? Okay. And that's why the scripture says the harvest is plenty, but the laborers are few. All right. So we're going to come over here, Revelation 13:16, because he was chipped, as it said in the video, right? It says, and he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor. Was not Bernie Mac a rich man from his success doing comedy and movies? Right? Did not we see Denzel Washington also tell you that they approached him with a pamphlet to be micro C-hip, and they said that it was for governance surveillance in so many words? And he said, no, I ain't putting that in. I ain't putting that in me. Hey, Denzel, guess what, man? Okay, let's read the scripture, because this is what's going to happen if you don't take it. Watch what happened to your riches, Denzel. Let's read it again. Revelation 13:16. And he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark or a charagma, which is the Greek word, in their right hand or in their foreheads. Listen closely, Denzel. And that no man might buy or sell, save he that had the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name. So you can sit there, as he said here, that he's not taking it. Okay. And, you know, that's not something that he can do. Well, think about all the accomplishments, all right, that you had the pleasure of tapping into throughout your career, all the millions that you have made, all the hard work that you put in. You get ready to taste all, you get ready to kiss all of that goodbye, man. When they mandate that chip, you're about to kiss all of that goodbye when they mandate that chip. And like we told y'all, man, this is what is going on in the industry. Okay. If you are a celebrity, you've already been chipped. We told y'all that. All right. And like I said, I've left this video in the description box. Okay. You can watch it in its entirety, but that's how Bernie Mac really passed away. They turned up his chip. This is why Yuval Harari said that humans through means of AI technology can now be hacked. What do you think he meant when he said that? He says through biology and understanding of science, we know how to control every living entity here on the planet Earth. That's what he said. You thought it was a coincidence when the C-19 happened and they started putting up those towers? You know what I'm talking about. It starts with the number 5. What do you think that's linked to, man? Okay. And so, let me continue to read on Revelation 13 and 18. Here is wisdom. Let him that hath understanding count the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man, and his number is 603 score 6. And when you go into 603 score 6, which we always do, all right, and you go into stigma, okay, stigma, Strong's definition, it says to stick or prick, a mark incised or punched for recognition of ownership. Now, what did Denzel say? Let me just take this back here. Let's come back. What did he say about this pamphlet and what the actual design of the chip was for?
That they gave me about a chip, an implant that they put in the body, and it can for security purposes.
Right, security
to identify you, to so that they know where you are. So I thought the pamphlet was made up for the movie,
right?
But it was real.
Oh, okay.
The kinds of little chips that you saw that we used in the movie are actually made. Now, as to what they can do, they'll tell you, oh no, it can't do all of that. It's just for global positioning and identification. But
global positioning and identification, that goes back to here, recognition of ownership, because when you are surveilled and they know your every movement, they know your every roundabouts, that's recognition of ownership. They own you. What do you think track and tracing is all about? Okay, so every person is going to be tagged with this implantable device that's going to be within them. Okay. And this is what we've been telling you guys. Like I said, man, it took me 4 years to do this, but really it was the will of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, because I never had an opportunity to get at it. But the Spirit got on me heavily this morning to say, okay, now it's the time for me to go into this, because this is how this man passed away. They turned up his chip. Okay. And they told you through the mainstream media that he passed away through some sort of ammonia or some BS that they threw out. And like I said at camp yesterday with the brother Yashar, okay, when we were at camp yesterday, I said that when he started talking to his wife after he made the movie Soul Men with Samuel L. Jackson, that's when they really knew that they had to take him out. That's when they finally understood, like, hey, okay, he talking way too much. We got to take his ass out now. And like the guy said, the narrator in that video, there's so many ways on how they can do it, because it's all controlled through a remote control. And like I said, man, this stuff is real. But see, we're in a time where Esau ain't got to hide under that no more, because they're going to do it in the means of Industrial Revolution 4.0. They're going to do it in the means of, stopping cyber attacks and, age verification, identity purposes, as Denzel say, global identity purposes. All right. Surveillance. That's how they're going to, come across. That's how they're going to try to sell it to everyone. Right. So let's come back over here. All right. We're going to end it with this Revelation 3 and 10. All right. It says, because thou hast kept the word of my patience, I also will keep thee from the hour of temptation. That hour of temptation is that micro C-hip, because you're going to be tempted to take it so that you can still have access in this society. Right. Let me read it again, Revelation 3:10, because thou hast kept the word of my patience, I also will keep thee from the hour of temptation, which shall come upon all the world to try them that dwell upon the earth. So in other words, what Yahweh Shai is saying, revealing this through John the Revelator, is the fact that, look, how do you keep the word of Yahweh Bashem Shai's patience? By enduring until the end, by not making haste in time of trouble, by being patient, because in your patience possess ye your souls. That's Luke 21:19, right? So if you endure all the way up until the end, does it not tell us in 1 Corinthians, what's that? 1 Corinthians 10:13, I think. I could be wrong. Where it talks about with that same temptation, he'll make a way for you to escape. Okay. So when this thing becomes mandated, all right, the elect, they're going to escape it, man. You know? So, hey, once again, we're here, man. All right. Because if you take that thing, when you go to Revelation, the 14th chapter, I actually know the 16th chapter. Okay, because remember, let me go back here. Let me play this clip again, just to show you to what actually happened. Take it back here a little bit, and then we're going to show you Revelation 16.
So they hold a meeting without Bernie, and they ask D.L. Hughley the same things. Hey, what is he saying? He's saying that we gotta expose this. Okay. They amped his chip up because the chip controlled every vital sign in your body. Bernie got real sick, went to the hospital, and they knew what was going on. Steve Harvey knew, D.L. Hughley knew, Said the Entertainer knew that they ratted him out, and he knew that death was coming. They knew death was coming. Bernie wasn't assured at the present time, but when he started getting real sick, he's saying, these motherfuckers doing this to me. But Bernie did tell his wife what was going on, and she been scared shitless ever since. And they didn't want him to tell her too much, so they turned it all the way up and killed him while he was in the hospital.
They turned it all the way up and unalived it. Now, when you get Revelation, the 16th chapter, it tells you this. And the first went and poured out his vial upon the earth, and there fell a noisome and grievous sore upon the men which had the mark of the beast, and upon them which worshipped his image. Now, to show you that this is talking about the micro C hip, if you in the blue letter and you look up that verse, you come over here to where it says commentaries, and I believe it's under John Brown. All right. Let me see here. John Brown. And right here. Notice also that this first bow does not affect those who have refused to accept the mark of the beast. As we discussed in earlier chapters, these foul and loathsome sores could be a result of the angel simultaneously popping the lithium batteries that power the womb to tomb microchips implanted under the skin of all those marked by the beast. And that shows you that these biblical scholars, they know what Revelation 13 verses 16 to 18 is all about. They know that it's the chip. And that's what was in Bernie Mac. Okay. When they went to turn up his chip, as the guy said in the video, because he was telling, they didn't want to see the issue was with Bernie when he started talking to his wife in the hospital. That's when it got real, man. And they was like, no, okay, he doing too much. She started getting scared. Why do you think you haven't heard from that woman all these years? Even when they did a BET celebration of Bernie's service, all right, they wouldn't even allow for her to come up on stage. She didn't even want, for what I remember, either she did or somebody else did it on his behalf. They wouldn't even allow her because she knew too much. Why you think she's been quiet all of these years? See what I'm saying? So, that's where we at, man. So that's pretty much it. Like I said, the link to watch this video in its entirety is in the description box. If you brothers want to check it out, you want to do a land back or whatever. If you know more information, if the spirit hops on you, do so. So I'm gonna, leave it off there. I pray that this lesson was edifying. All right. And I want to give all praise, glory, and honor be to Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai Ba'Shem Rakah Kodash. All right. Double honors once again to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule well and teach well. Peace and salutations unto the hopeful elect, the tabernacle of David. And so on to the next. Shalom.